Then we will move on to item E, update on enrollment for classes as a result of the 8-period day and Project Lead the Way.
Well, we have some exciting news. Our 8-period day probably worked better than we thought it would. Some of our elective classes have just blossomed and expanded beyond what I had anticipated. For example, in the art class, last year we had 79 students for intro to art. This year we have 127. Drawing 1, they had 58 last year. We have 103. And Project Lead the Way, which is a new course, the next year we have 45 students signed up for that. So we're pretty excited about that. We are starting to construct the master schedule at the high school. We met with the counselors today. We've talked to the different departments. It's going to be challenging because the class sizes are definitely going to be up from in the past. Another example I have for you is small engines class. Last year Mr. Tice had 41 people. Next year 86 have signed up for it, which I think is just outstanding. It's an excellent problem to have. I think it's done what we wanted to. It's given kids the opportunity to take some classes that they wanted to take. A few little obstacles, for example, in the Family and Consumer Science department, we've had more kids signing up for foods classes than we have kitchen space. So we sat down with Cheryl Gabrielson and Missy Haas, and we had a really positive discussion. And we decided, like, for the food services class, last year the class wasn't offered. This year we have about 15 kids signed up for it. It's a 2-hour block. Now, do we let those 15 students take it and sacrifice 50 other students that could get in 2 hours of a foods class? So what they decided is that next year they're going to not offer the food services. Those 15 will have to go someplace else. That way they can accommodate the other 50 kids that want to take a foods class. We're trying to do what's best for kids. We just have so much kitchen space, but it's definitely worked a lot better than I had even anticipated. We can make it work. It'll be an exciting and definitely frustrating time putting the master schedule together, but I think it's going to work for us.
So hot plates in your office isn't going to work, huh?
I think Mr. Stutzman took care of all that stuff with his energy things. Our little refrigerators and our microwaves are gone. No, but it's an exciting time. Some of the teachers are excited about it, and at the same time they're a little frustrated because, you know, of classes they've had to teach or the adjustments to make. The big one is with Project Lead the Way. Part of that grant, Mr. Joyce has to go down to the middle school. And as a result of that, we've had to refocus and twist and change our tech ed department around. So Mr. Ginrich and Mr. Tice will be teaching some metals that they haven't taught in quite a while. They are licensed for it. However, I think the positive side to that is next year they're on the cycle for rewriting their curriculum. And that'll give them an opportunity to get in there, roll their sleeves up, and get in with some of the metals so they can help direct us into the 21st century in that class as well. So that's where we're at for the schedule for next year. It's really exceeded my expectations.
Good. Typically, do you keep those numbers? I mean, is there a little rearranging that may happen?
Some of the kids, because the classes that are called singletons are the classes only offered once, sometimes a student might be butted up against that. We try to, when we start scheduling next week, you try to schedule all your singleton classes first. And so that eliminates as many of the conflicts as you can. And then you do your double tons and then the rest of the classes. So it's not as easy as like teachers think it may be sometimes, where I'd like to have this 3rd hour and my prep 4th hour or whatever, because you do the schedule, you may do it 4 or 5 times before you get it down with the least number of conflicts, because you want the schedule that's best for kids. So some kids may not get these classes because of the way their schedule works out, but we try to accommodate as many as we can. And the guidance department does a really nice job. Let's say, for example, there's 4 or 5 kids that can't get a certain class. They'll hand schedule them, and they'll pull them out, and they'll really look and investigate the schedule and try to bump it around the best they can to make sure kids get into those classes. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know that's been a challenge to get all that figured out, but I just think this is great for the students. I just am so pleased that it's moving forward. So thank you for your time, and the staff too. I know, you know, anytime you have change and transition, it's a good thing, but it can be frustrating too. And I just want to thank the staff for working through it, and again, it's for the kids. They're going to be winning by having more opportunities to take some classes they haven't been able to take in the past.
This year will probably be the if I can use the term worst, because it's the first time we're trying to do this, and there are going to be some bumps in the road and some frustrations on everybody's part, but if we all work together, we can make it happen.
Well, thank you, and thank the staff.
I know a lot of the electives have jumped significantly, like, the examples you gave. Do you know what happened with band and choir?
Oh, yeah, band went from 96 kids this year to 114 next year, and Carrie's choir went up, I think, maybe about 15 or 16 students in the overall, the 3 choirs she has. So those numbers went up as well, yeah.
So the very thing that you had a concern about is
Right.
students don't have the option to take these electives because of the required courses. I think it's already showing that it's hopefully very successful.
Very good.
So now we can put a schedule together that'll make it work.
We'll get it done. Thank you.
Well, I know in my notes I told you maybe looking at addition of a half-time staff person because of all the, jump in numbers and because of the Project Lead the Way, but Marlon has found a way to, as he said, some teacher will be teaching classes they haven't taught in a long time, but they are licensed for it.
Well, and as Judy said, thank you for your flexibility. That's wonderful and only helpful to the kids, so that's great.